Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be discussing a few topics. But before we get to it, I want to discuss a brand new Discord server. So, as you guys know, the discussions in the current Arcanist server, at least for meta, ideas, balance, all these things, it's kind of hard to facilitate for a few reasons. One reason is that the primary Discord is filled with a lot of spam, a lot of off-topic spam. Some off-topic spam includes people just talking about their day, what food they ate, what they did at work. It just devolves into many off-topic categories, and it's not related to Arcanist whatsoever. And a lot of the moderators also perpetuate that sort of off-topic talk. So it's just a mess, and ultimately nothing fruitful really comes out of those sort of discussions. So what I'm trying to put together is I'm trying to put a Discord together that's strictly just for speaking about Arcanists, and it's going to be very strict. So I'm going to have a few channels, one for each of the game modes, so high times, low times, elementals, and random spells. And if there's a message like, hey, I gotta go like feed my dog, that's like off topic, that gets deleted. If you talk about like high times and low times, that gets deleted, right? So ultimately I want a hyper focused sort of Discord venue where people can come and voice their thoughts on the game, and it's not going to be in vain, because right now I feel like over the past few years, and it's progressively gotten worse and more off topic, people have come and given their 2 cents, and it gets detracted. And when things get detracted, sometimes it gets personal, and people start attacking each other. And then mods are talking with players, and it's back and forth, and the main discussion gets buried. So, long story short, I'm gonna put a link in the bio in the description of this video to that server. I'm gonna test things out. I'm gonna talk there. If you guys want to come talk to me, it's going to be strictly about the game and nothing else. I don't want to know how your day goes. I don't want to know if you're in the hospital. I don't want to know any of that. I just want to talk purely Arcanist. So that's ultimately the venue I want to create or like be in, and I don't feel like it exists, so I'm making it. So that takes care of that. Other topic I want to talk about is tournaments. So we have not had a low times tournament in a while. I think the next one is slated to be on the Sands map, and I think the alternative map is likely gonna win out. Let me see what that alternative map looks like. I think it's gonna be the desert map. How do you toggle the alternative map? Because I'm fairly certain that this is the main map. Let me see how this works. Desert. This user interface, gosh, is tough. Map default, alternate map generation. Okay, there we go. Desert. So I believe that they might use this alternative map idea. I think it's really cool, right? It's been slated to start really in September. I guess we're in January now, so we are, getting a little bit late on schedule. But I will be participating in such a tournament if it actually transpires. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. I can't say I'm gonna host anything anytime soon, but eventually, maybe I'll look into hosting something if like nothing transpires. Right now, the game doesn't really seem like it has much activity whatsoever, so that's kind of rough. I didn't play in the last tournament. I felt like I wanted to give an opportunity for a lot of the new players, Steam players, to kind of get in there, get involved. But yeah, things are kind of slow right now. As for the meta on a map like this, really, I feel like the sky's the limit. I mean, I think the pure changed the armor generation, so there's that. I don't know if the armor generation is going to necessarily be. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be aggressive. I guess we can find out. Let's queue a few times. Let's see. Because before you had an armor generation that was really aggressive, and you couldn't really micro minions too much because the Armageddon would just be like extremely aggressive. What turn are we on? Turn 40. This is not aggressive whatsoever. So an Armageddon like this is extremely unaggressive. It plays a very, 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 very minor factor. At this point, you could, surmise that the map doesn't even have an Armageddon, because it's a fairly large map as well, compared to many other maps. I'm a little concerned about high draw percentages on a map like this, and I assume the standard map that's not, has all the blocks like this. I assume that map was also the same rate of Armageddons. So there's that. But yeah, one sec. I got something popped up. What is this? Who is this? Miss Voice Call. I don't know who the hell that is. From Nigeria. Okay, that's definitely a scam. Okay. Anyways, so that's the gist of it. I feel like maybe this Armageddon could be made a little bit more aggressive. Um, as for books, you definitely could take Flightless because of the low intensity of this Armageddon. Um, it might be hard to close though, so maybe with a smaller width it'd be a little easier because you could press an advantage a little bit easier. But maybe you can use Portal and kind of like, you know, close in like that. I don't know. It's never easy to tell what a meta could look like on the offset. Oh, game is that gold? No, that's our buddy Cryo. Okay, so that's that for tournaments. I hope it transpires at least by the end of the month. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But it would definitely help rev up the game a little bit. Um, Another topic I want to discuss is the meta for HTS. Let's see. Meta for HTS. Do I have any replays? No, I deleted them. Okay, in any case, so my favorite book did get nerfed quite a bit. Primarily, the SS and Portal interactions got nerfed, and this hurts the book in a few ways. So, one of the ways it hurts it is that if you shock shield very early on, anywhere from like turn like 1 to like 10 or so, you can't really force them to tower or position safely or anything like that against a potential portal. They have leeway against that. So that's something to take into account. You don't have that threat. This is a big nerf if the book is facing an aggressive playstyle like Rush, or even if it's not Rush, just like semi-aggressive. It's quite a nerf, and it hurts your map positioning because before you could almost kind of force them if they had like a sanctuary or any tower. You could have forced them to tower early on in a place on the map that might be less opportune, and then that could have helped you use that map presence for other things, like setting up on your own, and then like maybe cutting the map off or anything like that. But now it's a little bit harder. The dwarf also got nerfed, so it got nerfed with the myth being able to basically not be stunned. And I think there's like minor bugs with how the nerf was implemented too that did cost me a chance to win a game. But that aside, I would say this book is no longer going to be a book that can really take on everything. It can kind of hold its own, but there are better books out there. It's the nerfs were kind of heavy. I don't necessarily agree with them, but there's like other books that are probably good now with the ability to summon so much. I think just utilizing boars, bees, um, gargoyle, harmony. A lot of these like early just constant summon books. Um, I think you're better off you doing that these days if you want to do well in 60G. With that said, I think we might see a comeback of Dark Knight because Dark Knight does do well against those kind of constant summon sort of books, right? Because Dark Knight can essentially slice and dice through them. Uh, you could potentially kill like multiple summons within one move, and it's like a more turn efficient way to deal with things. So maybe the old DK. This is actually the book I used to get Archmage, um, way back when. I got 2.5k with this book, and so yeah, this book is probably really good again, right? Because you don't have the same threat. Um, with Portal as you did. I still think Portal can be fine, but the interaction with SS getting nerfed does really hurt its early to mid game, and that's crucial, right? Like even if you set up to late game, if they have good setup themselves, it's really hard to close anything. So there's that. In terms of what I would balance, or like what I think is like really strong right now, double summons are getting a lot of heat. Whether it's trolls, I think someone was saying they want to delete monarchs. I think boar is very strong. It's effectively a double summon. Available turn one, and it does things no other spells do. It digs, and it does so passively from a very large distance, I may add. And it's essentially a double summon minion. Um, if you don't kill it after like turn 5 or 6 or whenever it can duplicate itself, right? So I think boars are actually really strong, and I think we're kind of back into an RPS meta though, where some books just do very well against other books. I think that's unfortunate. We're kind of like regressing a little bit on that front, but that's that. I guess everyone wants their slice of pie to taste better sometimes. So in terms of Sands, I don't think there's some like more aggro sort of books with Sandstorm. I think that got recently nerfed. Monolith and Pyramid seems kind of underwhelming to me. I think if you buff Monolith a little bit, maybe it could do well with like imp books or something. But it's just too time consuming to play. Mario. You're trying to collect all the little coins. It's antithetical to kind of how you want to play the game, so to speak. It's like a little mini game inside the game, and it takes up too much time, and it's just, I don't like it too much. Overall, I don't. That's for HTS. For LTS, Sands of Time, I guess has some potential, but I still think Worm, it's not all that. I've played against it a few times. I don't like it too much. Um, and with it, I don't like it too much. Um, but yeah, I think it's overall, it doesn't do too much for me. Seems a little clunky in some areas, but it's a book, that's for sure. Definitely needs refinement. Besides boars, that's the biggest like power creep in the game. What else is there? Um, let's see. Yeah, I think that's like the big one. Just boars right now. Boars are just really strong right now, and they're a little buggy too, with the way they dig sometimes. So I would much rather also nerf their like you could halve their damage, like cut it in half, and it would still be like ridiculously strong because it's not about the damage. Oftentimes it's just about control and being able to consistently inflict that damage. But little things like making their lunge hurt allies, right? And if it makes it hurt your allies, but like doesn't stun them, right? I think that would be like pretty fair because now you have actual counterplay. It's not just like, oh yeah, like I lunge at you, but I don't hurt you. Yeah. Besides that, I don't think balance is necessarily terrible. It's been much worse in the past, but it's also been a little better. So there's that. As for LTS, I hope LTS picks up more as the tournament happens. If the tournament happens, I'm not able to get games anymore myself. Um, I think the player I was playing, Falcos, he's kind of gone inactive. And LTS is kind of dead. And PMO I haven't played in a year because no one's able to climb. So the game right now is a little bit stale, but I'm hoping things kind of change up a little bit. I think this new Discord I'm putting through, please be patient with me. I'm gonna be very strict with it. I don't want any sort of personal discussions. I don't want any sort of outside the game discussions. I want it to be just strictly Arcanists. I think we are kind of, as a community, missing a venue for that. A lot of people just like to talk about their personal lives and treat this game like a little social club. And then a lot of us want to treat this game like a game, right? Like we want to come and when we play the game or we're in the Discord, we want to, you know, we want to talk about Arcanists, right? Like we come to Arcanists to, you know, think about Arcanists, play Arcanists or whatever. And some people maybe they're upset with their life for whatever reason, and even moderators they'll let it out on public venues, and it's really hard to talk about the game when that sort of like negative energy is in the air. So my hope is that helps change at least game discussions a little bit. I've never managed a server before. I'm not a really big Discord guy, but so please be patient with me as I learn. Um, but we'll also see how this roadmap that I guess the Arcanist like volunteer team is like presenting, how that goes. If it doesn't go well, I'm sure Pure, I've talked to him. I'm sure there's opportunities maybe for other people to like get involved, and I'm not talking from like a volunteer basis. Who knows? Maybe like he'll get investors. Maybe he'll sell the game. Maybe he'll do certain things. I think he's a very open guy. So if things aren't going well, not saying it's gonna happen like overnight, but maybe down the road, things do change. But I hope we always have Arcanists because it's a fun game, and I think it's the only thing that's like keeping a lot of us around each other. So hopefully it always stays in some form or another. But yeah, I wish I could do a live com over a game, but I don't really have anyone to play right now. Um, Otherwise I would love to. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I think I covered a few topics. New server, um, some balance stuff, tournament stuff. So yeah, hopefully things kick off and I'll have a live comp for you guys sometime soon. Anyways, thanks for watching.